Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Paul, the Canadian Snowman, here once again, and start of a new series, The History of Russia. And yeah, these series kind of like the six-parters, or like I think after this one, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do yet, but I'm probably gonna do like a whole bunch of probably do like a few of those like a mini series, like I have like three parts and stuff like that before I get into like a long one. Because I've seen a couple of long ones, but they're like really long, and I don't when we want to start something that's really long because then I'm kind of committed to it and kind of want to, get a few little ones out of the way. And so stay tuned for whatever I decide to do after this series. But that is in the future. For right now, it's the history of Russia. We're on part one. And I don't even know when Russia became Russia, really. Like, when did it actually like become like a country? I really have no clue. So I'm assuming that this is going to start off like when it forms and I guess officially becomes Russia. So I don't know what to expect. So I guess let's dive into it and we can figure this out together. Unless you guys have already watched it. In that case, you're way ahead of me. And I'm sure there's you know, a few of you who probably, are interested, but really don't know much either. But then again, if you guys live, if you're like from Europe, Asia, I already know you guys know a whole lot more about, Russia and everything over there than I do. So, uh, I'm I'm basically playing catch up when it comes to you guys and your awesome history over there. So, yeah. So let's jump into this video. Please hit that like and subscribe, guys, right down below, please, and thank you. And yeah, let's just dive into it and see what Russia has in store. Big, big country. Does it start off big or start off small and then get big? I have no idea. No idea. But definitely going to find out, right? I mean, that's what we're here for, right? We're here to learn and see some cool stuff and hear some interesting things. I mean, I guess that's the whole point about everything, right? I don't know. Anyways, Epic History TV. Once again, awesome channel. Check it out. I mean, if you've been on my channel any kind of length, you'll know that I love this channel. And this is what the first, second, third, just the fourth, fifth. This is the fifth series I've done from Epic History. Can't believe I can count. History of Russia, part one.
For thousands of years, the lands known today as Russia and Ukraine were inhabited by nomadic tribes and mysterious Bronze Age cultures.
Wow.
The only record they left were their graves. In the great open grasslands of the south, the steppe, they buried their chieftains beneath huge mounds called kurgans.
Wow.
The ancient Greek historian Herodotus called these people Scythians. Their lands were overrun by the same nomadic warriors who brought down...
I just want to say, first of all, this is awesome that they're really taking us back before it was Russia, and that was what I was hoping for. I didn't want it to be already, this is Russia, blah, blah, blah. I'm glad we're getting kind of the roots and the history, so that's pretty awesome.
Their lands were overrun by the same nomadic warriors who brought down the Roman Empire. The land was then settled by Slavs. They shared some language and culture, but were divided into many different tribes. Vikings from Scandinavia, known in the east as Varangians, rode up Russia's long rivers on daring raids and trading expeditions. According to legend, the East Slavs asked a Varangian chief named Rurik to be their prince and unite the tribes. He accepted and made his capital at Novgorod. His dynasty, the Rurikids, would rule Russia for 700 years.
Wow.
His people called themselves the Rus and gave their name to the land.
The Rus, Russia, and I actually recognize the name from the TV show Vikings, when, the Vikings, you may get to Rus. I'm not going to say any more than that because then it's spoilers. So, yeah, we'll continue on.
Themselves the Rus and gave their name to the land. Rurik's successor, Oleg, captured Kiev, making it the capital of a new state, Kiev.
Another name I recognize. So that's kind of cool, though, when our name pops up that you recognize, but other than that, you don't really know much about the person, but you recognize the name. Unless it's just like a coincidence. But so far, this is really cool. So the land of the Rus, and I guess it becomes Russia. This is cool.
Oleg captured Kiev, making it the capital of a new state, Kievan Rus. A century later, seeking closer ties with the Byzantine Empire to the south, Vladimir the Great adopted their religion and converted to Orthodox Christianity. He is still venerated today as the man who brought Christianity to Ukraine and Russia. Yaroslav the Wise codified laws and conquered new...
Okay. I know I'm pausing it, but there is kind of like a lot of names and stuff kind of flying at me right now. Vladimir the Great. I know, obviously, we've done Alexander the Great. We've done that series. That was awesome. He was basically known for a great conquering a lot of land. And Vladimir the Great, is he kind of known for the same thing? Did he conquer a lot in Rus? Or is he the Great because he brought like Christianity, to Russia? And maybe they might explain it right here in 2 seconds to me for all I know. But I know a lot of you guys, you know this stuff, man. Like, you guys are just geniuses in the comments, because I don't know how you know a lot of this information. I guess you guys either learned it in school, or you just that's your history, so obviously you're gonna know. But anyways, onward.
Yaroslav the Wise codified laws and conquered new lands. His reign marked the golden age of Kievan Rus. It was amongst the most sophisticated and powerful states in Europe. But after Yaroslav's death, his sons fought amongst themselves. Kievan Rus disintegrated into a patchwork of feuding princedoms.
Oh, man.
Just as a deadly new threat emerged from the east. The Mongols under Genghis Khan had overrun much of Asia. Now they launched a great raid across the Caucasus Mountains and defeated the Kievan princes at the Battle of the Kalka River. But then withdrew. 14 years later, the Mongols returned. A gigantic army led by Batu Khan overran the land. Cities that resisted were burnt, their people slaughtered. The city of Novgorod was spared because it submitted.
Okay, I know Genghis Khan conquered a lot of area, but I forgot or just didn't realize just how much area. That'd be a cool video on its own, Genghis Khan. That'd be kind of a cool, video on that. I just gotta keep that like in my memory bank maybe until I remember to look stuff like that up. But anyways, like, wow, like Genghis Khan seemed to reap havoc, in Rus. Wow.
The city of Novgorod was spared because it submitted to the Mongols. Its prince, Alexander Nevsky, then saved the city again, defeating the Teutonic Knights at the Battle of the Ice, fought above a frozen lake. He remains one of Russia's most revered heroes. The Mongols ruled the land as conquerors. Their new empire was called the Golden Horde, ruled by a Khan from his new capital at Sarai. The Rus princes were his vassals. They were forced to pay tribute or suffer devastating reprisal raids. They called their oppressors Tatars. They lived under the Tatar yoke. Alexander Nevsky's son, Daniel, founded the Grand Principality of Moscow, which quickly grew in power. Under the great Uzbek Khan, the Tatars converted to Islam, A rising power, the Grand Duchy of Lithuania defeated the Tatars at the Battle of Blue Waters and conquered Kiev. 18 years later, Dmitry Donskoy, Grand Prince of Moscow, also defeated the Tatars at the Great Battle of Kulikova Field.
Okay.
After years of infighting, the Golden Horde now began to disintegrate into rival khanates. Constantinople, capital and last outpost of the once great Byzantine Empire, fell to the Turkish Ottoman Empire. Some hailed Moscow as the Third Rome, the seat of Orthodox.
The Turkish Ottoman Empire. And it's just really neat because, you know, I'm doing all this this history, all these history videos, but it's like everything just ends up getting connected. It's like, the empire there is like, I just watched World War I, where that empire basically got disintegrated. And this is basically when it came together. So it's just kind of neat when you watch these videos and go back in time and forward in time, just how everything's connected. And that's just so neat, right? Come on, that's like part of the fun, of history. Like, I don't understand why people don't like this stuff.
Some hailed Moscow as the Third Rome, the seat of Orthodox Christian faith. Now Rome and Constantinople had fallen. Meanwhile, the Grand Princes of Moscow continued to expand their power, annexing Novgorod and forging the first Russian state.
Here we go.
At the Ugra River, Ivan III of Moscow.
The first Russian state, so like 1480? Would that be kind of, that says here, would that be kind of considered the start of Russia? I guess I'll have to wait and see, because they had Rus, but then it kind of got evaporated, and now it's, it's the first like Russian state, and it has Moscow, when we obviously know Moscow is the capital. So I guess let's keep going here.
At the Ugra River, Ivan III of Moscow faced down the Tatar army and forced it to retreat. Russia had finally cast off the Tatar yoke.
There we go.
Under Grand Prince Vasily III, Moscow continued to grow in size and power. His son, Ivan IV, was crowned the first Tsar of Russia. He would be remembered as Ivan the Terrible. Ivan conquered Tartars.
I definitely remember that name, Ivan the Terrible. I mean, that's his name. And what was I going to say? Hold on a second. It said something that kind of... Let's see here.
Remembered as Ivan the Terrible, Tsar of Russia.
Tsar, that's what I was saying.
He would be...
Tsar, that's what I was saying. So what's a Tsar? Is it just like, it's kind of like emperor or king? Is that kind of what the Tsar means? It's just like a different name for it? Because, and I know like, there ends up being more Tsars, and I'm just not sure if that means king or emperor, or maybe it's both. It's just a different name for it. I'm not sure.
Be remembered as Ivan the Terrible. Ivan conquered Tatar lands in Kazan and Astrakhan, but was defeated in the Livonian War by Sweden and the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth.
Okay.
Ivan's modernizing reforms gave way to a reign of terror and mass executions, fueled by his violent paranoia.
Wow.
Russia was still vulnerable. Raiders from the Crimean Khanate were able to burn Moscow itself. But the next year, Russian forces routed the Tatars at Molody, just south of the city. Cossacks now lived on the open steppe, a lawless region between three warring states.
The Cossacks! This is so awesome! Like, the Cossacks from Napoleon, man, the guys on the horses who are ruthless, man. It's just so cool, like all the previous videos done, it's just like connecting, like, okay, that makes sense, that's where they came from, so this is so neat.
Lived on the open steppe, a lawless region between three warring states. They were skilled horsemen who lived freely and were often recruited by Russia and Poland to fight as mercenaries. Yep. Ivan the Terrible's own son, the Tsarevich fell victim to one of his father's violent rages, bludgeoned to death with the royal scepter.
Damn. Okay.
The Cossack adventurer Yermak Timofeyevich led the Russian conquest of Siberia, defeating Tatars and subjugating indigenous tribes. In the north, Arkhangelsk was founded, for the time being Russia's only seaport linking it to Western Europe, though it was icebound in winter. Ivan the Terrible was succeeded by his son, Fyodor I, who died childless. It was the end of the Rurikid dynasty. Ivan's advisor, Boris Godunov, became Tsar. But after his sudden death, his widow and teenage son were brutally murdered, and the throne seized by an impostor claiming to be Ivan the Terrible's son. He too was soon murdered.
Damn.
Russia slid into anarchy, the so-called Time of Troubles. Rebels and foreign armies laid waste to the land, and the population was decimated by famine and plague.
Yes, like these other countries see all the chaos going over there, and you're like, that's opportunity for us, man. So let's go pillage and get what we want while they're all squabbling amongst each other for power, man. That's how it goes, man. Because obviously, if you have a strong, you have a strong leader over there, man, they're not going to go mess with nobody over there because they know they're going to get their butt whipped. But that's history right there. That's how it goes.
To the land, and the population was decimated by famine and plague. Polish troops occupied Moscow. Swedish troops seized Novgorod. The Russian state seemed on the verge of extinction.
On the verge of extinction, on the verge. But we all know how this story ends or how it continues, because obviously the story's still going. Man, they coming back. I have a feeling this next video, man, they coming back, because obviously they'd have to come back because they're not going to just disappear. And this is basically their low. I mean, there could be more low points, but I guess this is like a low point for them. So, man, seems like there's only one place to go, and that's up, right? But anyways, to be continued. This is very cool. I'm very excited. I'm very pleased and about this video, and I wasn't sure how it was going to go and where it was going to go, but like all like the facts that came up, and recognizing a lot of the stuff that came up from like previous videos, and just like his life in general is just really neat. And so I definitely thank those who kind of pushed for this. I know it's only the first step push for this, so only the first episode, because I really like what I see so far. So thank you for that. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Please hit that like and subscribe, guys, if you haven't yet, because we're going to push on through this series that's starting off pretty awesome. And yeah, let's just see where it goes from here. It's kind of neat how we're doing everything right now. So anyways, appreciate you watching. Peace. And thank you for, like I said, thank you for watching once again. And I'll definitely catch you guys in future videos. I am out.